Good morning, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Pure PT and Pilates studio. My name is Becky Pritchard. I'm a physiotherapist, an osteopath, and also a Pilates instructor and a specialist in injury rehab management. Now, for those of you that are expecting for me to go live in my Facebook group this morning, I couldn't connect things up today. It worked yesterday, but it didn't today. So I'm coming to you live from my Facebook page instead. So I'm just going to wait a little moment and see if you guys can manage to find me. I posted in the group and hopefully people have seen that message and they're going to jump across onto the Facebook page. Hello, if you're watching on YouTube, these recordings will be up for 24 hours after the class. So please let me know in the comments below if you're with me live or if you're coming back on the replay. And I'd also really love your feedback. So this is a new class format. So the class is called Fix Your Foundations, and it's very much like my style of Pilates teaching. The difference being the format that we are following is the framework I use with my clients for exercise rehabilitation. So today's class is all based on how to improve your low back pain and stiffness. That also includes your sciatic nerve as well within that. And the framework that we follow has 6 stages, but within these classes, because stage number 5 is strength training and we really need to be in a gym for that, we're just working through the first 4 stages. So I'm going to very briefly talk you through those stages, and we're going to spend 10 minutes on each one this morning. So the difference between my Pilates classes and this, for those of you that have done my Pilates, you'll think, oh, it's like the same stuff. Yes, it is in a way, but it will be specific to low back pain and related issues, and it has a specific order. So at the start of the class, we're going to do some inhibition or some spiky balling. Okay, so we're going to be using the spiky balls or tennis balls. So if you don't have spiky balls, don't worry, you need 2 of the same size. Tennis balls are perfect, you need 2 of those. Cricket balls, whatever you've got, baseballs, roughly the same size. We're going to start with that. We're going to do some inhibition. This is going to release and relax tight tissues. We're going to work on your bottom muscles today, but there are 3 key types of release we do within inhibition. So that's always going to be at the start of the class. And that's just relaxing your tissues, getting you a bit more mobile. And it has a similar effect if you go for a sports massage, or you go to a physio or an osteopath and they release your tissues, has a really similar effect as same as that. Then we move on to articulation. That basically means getting stiff bits moving. So stiff joints moving, or perhaps your sciatic nerve is not sliding very well. And we're going to do some exercises to just improve and encourage the nerve to slide better. So that's the second stage. That's articulation. Then we move through into activation. So that is waking up muscles that maybe aren't firing as well as they should. So we're trying to renew the connection from our brain into our body. And for low back pain, we work on a whole range of muscles, tummy muscles, bottom muscles, legs, shoulders, but you're just going to get a little snippet of it today. And then after that, we move into stretching. Stretching comes as stage 4, because very often if you have pain, sometimes you need to do that groundwork, the level 1, 2, and 3 stuff before we go into stretching. If your sciatic nerve is irritated, sometimes the stretch can actually set it off. So if you do like a down dog in yoga, or if you stick your foot up on a windowsill and you kind of lean forwards to stretch the back of your leg, that can irritate your sciatic nerve. So that's the plan for today. We're going to walk you through stages 1 to 4. If you're with me, can you leave me a comment? I can see some of you are with me and I can see names that I recognize. So just say hello, tell me if you're live, and let me know how you are this morning. Well done, Hedwig. Thank you. I'm so sorry for the last minute change. It's changing from groups to page. Well done. Fabulous. So what I was going to say to you, injuries. So there will be people joining today with low back pain and with sciatic pain. So when should you not do this? If you are unable to lie on the floor on your back, you shouldn't be doing this exercise today or this class today. If any of these exercises give you pain, pins and needles or numbness down your legs or around your genital region, you are irritating the sciatic nerve and you absolutely should be not doing that exercise. It might be that the exercise is fine, but you're doing a level that's too severe. And throughout, I will give you a very gentle level, and then a level 2, a level 3, and sometimes a level 4. Okay. So if the exercise is giving you your symptoms, you should not be doing it, because either it is the wrong exercise, the wrong level, or or maybe your technique's not right. So start by jumping down the levels, making it easier. And if that does not help, then you need to just miss out that exercise, maybe go back to one previously that was okay until I move on. Is that okay? Right, 6 minutes past now. So we are going to spend about 10 minutes on each section. So you need spiky balls or tennis balls or whatever you've got to start with. Here we've got, no one's saying hello to me, but I can see there's people on. Morning, Zoe. Morning, Mandy. Are you going to do it with us this morning? Or are you just coming to just kind of watch from your sofa or something like that? Now, usually when I teach from Zoom. And when I teach from Zoom, I can see you and you can see me, and I would give corrections. But because of the fact that I'm just live streaming, I can't see you today, so I won't be able to give you corrections. So I just need you to be really responsible for your own health. And if you're not feeling good, or if it doesn't feel comfortable, you can send me a little message and ask me. I'll check from time to time, or just miss that out for today. Right, spiky balls at the ready. So tennis balls are fine. We need 2 balls of roughly the same size. This is where we start. I'm just going to show you where I want you to put them before we start the class. So think about your bottom. Think about right at the top of your bottom in the center. So your sacrum is like an upside down triangle in the center of your pelvis. We're going to put 1 ball there and 1 ball here. And that is where we are going to start. Okay. So those of you that did the low back pain challenge with me last year, and some of you are on today, this will all be familiar. It will be a really good refresher, and it's just a slightly different format. Same exercises, different order. So I've laid myself down on my back. If you need a little cushion under your head, you can do that. Bend your knees, bring your feet flat to the floor, and then I've got 1 ball under either side in my lower back. Now, sometimes when you first settle down, if your back is sore, that can feel uncomfortable. So I just want you to just lie there, become heavy on the floor, take a few breaths, and just see, can you tolerate that sensation? Some of you will feel nothing. Some of you might be finding a sore spot, and that's fine. Some of you might feel uncomfortable in your spine. If you're not comfortable, try and move the balls out a bit or down a bit. And if that doesn't help, then it might be that you need to miss this first bit out, or try it again with a softer ball. Okay, so option 1, you just lie here and you do nothing. We're using your body weight and gravity to release the tissues of your bottom. If you would like to, at any time, you just move the ball's position. So usually I move outwards first, and I come back to the center, and then I move down my pelvis from a little bit wide down to narrow in a point. Option 2, we're going to rock our pelvis. So we're going to tip our pelvis north towards our face, and then we're going to tip our pelvis south towards our feet. So we're rolling over the balls. So you will feel the different parts of your bottom cheek connect with the ball as you do that. And you might get to a point where you find a really tight spot that needs releasing. And if you find a tight spot, just hold that position and then maybe just gently press a bit more body weight into that area, and that will help you release. Okay? So that's option 2. Now you could slightly change option 2 if you like, and you can rock your pelvis like a boat to the left and to the right, to the east and the west. So I'm kind of pushing one bottom cheek down and then the other. So I'm rocking the pelvis side to side. And you might notice as you press down through one bottom cheek that you feel that intensity of feeling increases. And if you feel that it's worth staying and releasing that tightness, just hold your pressure there for a while and just wait for it to subside. So there's not a right or a wrong with this. Okay, option 3, if you'd like it, you could see how it feels as you open your knees out to the side. Did you just hear my hip click? It was really loud. I wonder whether the microphone picked that up. Now, as the leg drops out, we're taking more weight down onto that side. You might think, oh, there's a good spot there. And then you might just need to just wait and rest and wait for it to release. So just side to side. Lovely. Option 4, if you want it, we're going to lift the legs. One leg comes up and back down. Now I'm ready to move these balls into a new place. So what you may want to do if you've never done this before is just gradually work outwards until you've run out of bottom cheek. Then you're going to come back to where you started, and then you're going to gradually work down your bottom cheek until you run out of it. But because I've done this a lot, I'm going to move down because I know that that's where I'm tight. But if you've never done it before, do across the top of your pelvis first, and then down the line of your sacroiliac joint, second. Now, this is kind of the most intense option. We can lift one leg, and if you're able to, without any discomfort, we can lift two legs. That's a lot of weight coming down now through the tissues. You can just stay there and do nothing, or you can just gently rock your body weight to the left and to the right. Now, my right bottom cheek is always my tight side, so as I go this way, it makes me want to pull a bit of a face. And I'm just going to wait there with my legs slightly tilted to one side, and we just wait for the tissues to release and relax. If the tension is so intense that you're kind of bracing everything, or you're not breathing, or if it's sending pain down your leg, down your sciatic nerve, come away from that spot. Find somewhere nearby that you can tolerate better, or maybe reduce the intensity by bringing one or both legs down. Okay, so once you've had enough in the spot you're in, find a new spot down your bottom cheeks. So we're going across the top first, we're going down the sacroiliac joint second. So here are your options. Number one, do absolutely nothing. So I do this a lot in bed when I go to sleep. I do a bit of this, just laying there doing nothing before bedtime. Option two, rock your pelvis. You can either go forwards and backwards or side to side. Option three, we can move the legs around, so we can send the legs this way out to the sides, or we can lift the legs up one at a time. There's not a right, there's not a wrong. You can play around with it. You could lift the leg up and then take it out to the side. And then option four, we add more weight by adding a second leg, and we can do whatever we like here. We can rock the pelvis, we can tilt the pelvis, whatever feels good. Just find a good spot to release. And I want you to work all around your bottom. So you keep doing that. I'm just going to show you the path that you're releasing. So we're starting here at the top. We're going to work along the top of the glutes first, then we come back to where we started, and then we're going to come down to our tail. So we start wide and then we come in narrow, and that releases along your sacroiliac joint. Let me know if you've got any questions for me. I'm just going to have a little nose in the chat. Oh, Amanda, you found me. Thank you. I'm sorry I had to change location last minute. Fabulous. So now in class, in this format, a 40-minute format, we're doing 10 minutes on each section, okay? So section one is your spiky ball release or your tennis ball release. So we're releasing the tissues of your bottom. Now, if you were doing this at home on your own, you might want to pop a film on and spend 20 minutes spiky balling. So we just do 10 minutes in class just to get a bit of release, but we're going to move on now to the next stage, which is articulation. So I want you, when you feel that you're on a place that you can stop, I want you to remove the balls out from underneath you. You know how to do it now, so it's something that you can now repeat on your own. If you missed the start of the class, the recording will be available for 24 hours, okay? So you can go back and watch that first bit. All right, so look, I've got... So my little ones were decorating their welly boots with sparkles this morning. I've just found a sparkle on one of my toes. Sparkly stickers. Okay, so we've moved the balls out the way. Now we're going to move into getting stiff joints moving. So I'd like you to take your hands and place them on the front of your pelvis. We're going to rock our pelvis north to our face. This opens up all the joints in our lower back. And then we're going to rock our pelvis south to our feet. Now this closes down the joints in our lower back, so sometimes that can be painful. So let's just test the water. How does our spine feel today? So we're opening the joints and we're closing the joints. So just test the waters. So for me, usually a tilt to my face that opens the joint, relieves the discomfort. And as I go towards my feet, I can feel a bit of a catch on my right side. But I know if I do more of these, that will start to ease. So how does that feel for you? If you've got a disc in your back that's playing up, sometimes it's the opposite. So as you tilt your pelvis to your face, you feel more than when you go to your feet, which actually could relieve it. Now let's find neutral spine. So neutral spine is where you're flat at the front of your pelvis. Okay, there's a curve underneath your lower back. If, like me, your ribs have lifted off the floor, you need to connect them down, okay, which can be tricky. You're going to place your hands on your pelvis left and right, and we're going to rock your pelvis like a boat to the east and to the west, to the right and to the left. And now this is opening up the joints on one side, closing down the joints on the other side. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sway your legs. I don't want you to do that. You're going to want to move your rib cage. I don't want you to do that. So keep your ribs still, your legs still. Just rock your pelvis like it's a little boat to the left and to the right. And do you notice stiffness one way more than the other? And if the answer is yes, you have stiffness on that side, and we need to just encourage it to move. Okay, we're going to go north to face. We're going to go south to feet. We're going to find our neutral. We're going to go east, and we're going to go west, and we're going to find neutral. You may want to move a lot slower than that. So north to face, south to feet, find the center. I go the other way this time, so the west and the east, and find the center. You might be noticing catching, pinching, stiffness, maybe that one side feels way more comfortable or way easier to do than the other. Let's do that one more time. So this is an articulation exercise. We are specifically getting you the joints of your lower back moving. Now we're going to layer on to this exercise some activation work. So now we're going to keep all that movement, but we're going to add some core work into it. So some activation work. We're going to lift one leg up, knee over hip socket. I want the knee over the hip and the foot level with the knee. We're going to tilt pelvis north to face. We're going to tilt pelvis south to feet. And then we're going to find neutral. Now, as you do that, your leg's going to want to move. I want you to keep it still. So we're just rocking the pelvis, moving the lower back, but we're not moving the leg. Now, we're going to tip away from the lifted leg towards the lifted leg. We're going to find the center, and then we're going to switch legs. So we're going to lift the leg up. We're in neutral. We tip the pelvis north to our face. That means we flatten our back. Then we're going to tilt the pelvis south to our feet. That means we arch the back. We find the center. And then we're going to go away from the lifted leg first, towards the lifted leg second, which is easier than away, back to the center, lower down. So this is getting your spine moving still, but especially when you tip away from the lifted leg. So as I tip away, my left leg is lifted, but the right side of my tummy is working. So you may notice that actually you're weaker on one side of your tummy than the other. It might be easier to tip away from that lifted leg one side than the other. Now there are more advanced levels to these exercises, but I want to get a few more exercises done in this section, so we're just going to keep it there. So level 1 was without the legs. That was just articulation, just getting stiff joints moving. Level 2 was with a lifted leg, and that gets a little bit of core activation in. Really good for pelvic floor. Let me have a little nosy, see if I've got any more comments. Good stuff. I'm just going to come and switch something over here so that I can see, because I can see your comments too. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Okay, so that's our first articulation exercise. Now we're going to go to another one, and it's one that I know a lot of you that are watching have done with me before in the past. So we're going to bring our arms down by our sides, turn our palms up to the ceiling. Take a breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, I've got another blooming sparkle stuck to me thumb. I've got a red one this time. I think it was a blue one last time. What have the kids been doing, honestly? Pull up through the pelvic floor. So imagine you're desperate for a wee, and you're going to hold that wee in. So you're pulling up from the front of your pelvic floor as you tilt your pelvis towards your face. Now I want you to hold that pelvic tilt. Now as you do the pelvic tilt, you might want to squeeze your bottom, and you might want to push into your feet, but I don't want you to do that. I just want you to pull up through the front of the tummy. Use that to tilt you, so your bottom is relaxed and you're not pressing into your feet. Now release and let that pelvic tilt go. We're going to do that again. So breathe in to prepare, breathe out, pull up through the front of the pelvic floor, tip your pelvis north to your face. Now we're going to hold that pelvic tilt for a moment, but we're not going to hold our breath. Check you're not squeezing your bum, check you're not pushing through your feet, and then release and let that go. Let's just do a few more of these. So as we tilt, we're opening up the joints of our back, but now we're thinking more about pulling up from the front of our pelvic floor. So this is a little bit of articulation, level 2, and a little bit of activation, level 3. Okay, let's make this bigger. We're going to press through the feet this time. When we can't tilt anymore, we're going to squeeze our bottom cheeks, and we're going to lift our bottom just off the floor. Now I want you to make this very small. So you're only just clearing the floor with your bottom cheeks. Okay, so it's a very small bridge. Inhale here, As you exhale, tip your pelvis north to your face and roll down through your spine. Roll the pelvis back through to neutral. And then if, like me, your rib cage is collect it back down. Inhale at the bottom, exhale, pull up through the front of the pelvic floor. You could just do a tilt if you wanted to. If you want a bit more, squeeze your bum, lift just off the floor so you're hovering your bottom just. Inhale here, exhale, really tilt the pelvis as you come back down. Now there's a level 3 and a level 4 to this, but today I'm going to make the assumption that your lower back is stiff and sore, so we're just doing level 1 and 2. So level 1 is your pelvic tilt, level 2 is a baby bridge. As you come down, really round your spine so that you get more flexion, more bending out of your back on the way down. And I'd like you to do 10 of those if you can. You're probably at least halfway. Okay, that's really interesting, Amanda. So I think you're talking about the what I call the compass, north, south, east, and west. And that's really typical when you go north, south, east, west. When you go one way, you can notice that there's stiffness in the joints on one side. So you now know that that is the side you need to really work on and release. And I've got the right exercise for you. We're going to do that in just one moment. Let's just do 1 or 2 more pelvic tilts, and then I'll take you into that exercise. Now within the articulation section, because we're doing a little bit of activation as well, I'm going to try and squeeze 2 more exercises in, which means maybe we might be doing a little bit less activation today. Okay, Amanda, we're going to address that issue now. So you're going to roll onto your side for me now. So you're lying on your side, and you might need some cushions. Let me tell you where you might need them. Okay, so for me, it's really comfortable to rest my head on my arm as a pillow, but for a lot of people, it hurts their neck or shoulder. If that is you, I want you to put your arm out in front like this, and I'd like some cushions under here so that your head stays in line with your spine. There's another place. So for some of us, lying on this hip bone here can be really painful. And if that's the case, get a cushion under your waist. So not under the bit that hurts, above the bit that hurts. So when you're lying on your side, you feel comfy. And then I want you to bring your knees right up. So knees level with your hip sockets. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to stretch this top leg away and rest it on the floor. Now Amanda, for you, what I would like you to do is the side that was really stiff to move towards when you were doing north, south, east, west, I would like you to have that side facing up. So if it was the right side, like for me, that was stiff, I want the right side facing up, okay? I don't want it facing down. Now, Hedwig, you know this exercise because you've done this with me before. You're going to lengthen that top leg along the floor. So we're not lifting the leg. Everyone wants to lift. So I want you to lengthen the leg along the floor. You probably will hardly see me do anything on camera. Now, as I slide that leg away, this side of me, so under here, my waist is lifting off the mat. This is stretching and opening all the joints on this side, but it is closing down and squashing all the joints on this side. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to relax. So my waist is now collapsing back to the floor, and this is now kind of bunched back up again. So lengthen the leg away. We're going to feel a stretch. It can feel a little bit painful and tight around here. If it's just a niggle, that's fine. If there's a lot of pain, make it much smaller, and then release and let it go. Just keep doing this for me. So stretching away and releasing. So this is opening up the joints on this side. It's closing down the joints on that side. Now, if this side under here was my painful side, sometimes it can get more painful when it's the bottom side. So for some people, they can have the painful side facing up and they can do this side, no problem. But when they turn around and do the other leg, it hurts on their painful side. And if that happens to you, I don't want you to do the other side to start with until you can tolerate it better. So this level is level 1. This is an articulation exercise. That basically means we are getting stiff joints moving. If you'd like a bit of activation work for your bottom cheeks, this is the next stage. So we're going to lengthen the leg, squeeze the bottom, and we're going to lift the leg up so that it's level with the height of your pelvis. Now we're going to really squeeze your bottom cheeks. Imagine you're wrapping them round behind you. And then you're going to rest your leg down and you're going to release and relax to the floor. So we lengthen away, we squeeze into the glute, we lift up, lovely, and then we're slowly back down, okay? Now, keep this going. Now, for some people, say you've had a joint replacement, or maybe you've got some issues in your hip, or maybe you've got some tendonitis around the side of the hip here. Can you see I've just put a block underneath my foot? For some people, resting their foot on the floor can hurt here or hurt here in the groin. So by having this leg or this foot higher up, you can still do the same exercise. You just slide it away and then you can lift up and down exactly the same, okay? But it just takes some of that pressure off the hip here or here, just depending where you're feeling it. Especially also if you're feeling it in the lower back, sometimes lifting the foot up can help. Okay, again, this is only level 1 and 2. I usually teach levels 3 and 4, but we're keeping it basic today. When you've had enough on this side, I want you to roll yourself over and try and repeat the exact same thing on the other side. And I want you to make a note as to, does it feel harder or easier to stretch the leg away? If you feel like your leg moves easier and stretches further, that side is not as stiff as the other side. And then I also want you to think, how is your underside feeling? Is it niggling a bit? If that's the case, don't stretch the top leg away so far, okay? Let me just have a little nosy at the notes. Good. Right. Morning, those that are joining in a little bit late. If you're wondering what's going on, I'm teaching a masterclass about how to manage your low back pain better. So we're about halfway through at the moment. So we're coming round onto side number 2. Now, you may not need a cushion under your head. I'm going to leave it there because otherwise my microphone gets upset. Starting position, knees on top of each other, top leg stretches away. It's the same thing. So level 1, we just lengthen the leg along the floor and release. Level 2, we're lengthening and lifting. Now, I would really like you to do at least 5 or 10 repetitions of your level 1 before you start to lift the leg. So the purpose of level 1 is getting stiff joints moving. So we're opening up these joints here and we're closing down these joints under here, okay? So that's your level 1. Level 2 has a different purpose. So we're still getting that mobilization, but now we're squeezing into the glute and we're waking up these bottom muscles. By strengthening the hip, we're supporting the hip joint, and by supporting the hip joint, we give the back more support. Because if the hips aren't stable and if the hips aren't strong, it will cause more stress and strain at the lower back. So some of you might be just here, level 1, and some of you might be here, level 2. I've just seen a few more comments come through. Let me see what you're saying to me. I'm with you, Hedwig. So I love this exercise too. And I tend to only do it with my right side up because that's my tight side. So I just stay on that side. Just sit side, left. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay. So Amanda, if you've got hip impingement, so I have hip impingement too. Okay. Sometimes it can be the angle of the leg. So if you a book, whatever you've got at home, and try the exact same exercise, but with the foot lifted a bit higher off the floor, sometimes that can really stop that catch into the hip. Okay. So let me know if that helps in any way. And also, is one side easier to stretch away than the other? Good stuff. Cool. All right. So this is our last articulation exercise, but what we've done is we've added some activation in with the articulation. So we've kind of done 2 stages in one. I want to do one more activation exercise, which again, a lot of you would have done with me before if you've been to my classes. When we do activation for the back, we consider all parts of the back, okay? We consider our back muscles, we consider our core muscles, our bottom muscles, but actually what we're going to work now is our upper back and shoulders, and I'm going to tell you why. So your shoulder blades and the stability of your shoulder joints have a direct impact on the health of your lower back. So if you've got a shoulder injury, that will be impacting your lower back health. So there is a big muscle called your lats, and your lats attaches to your arm, and it comes down past your shoulder blades. It comes all the way down here, and it attaches to your lumbar spine, some connective tissue around your lower back, and to your pelvis. So your lats, if you see bodybuilders and they've got a big V-shaped back, and swimmers have big lats as well, that V-shape with your lower back. I'm sorry, I think my signal just cut out then. I disappeared and came back again. So what I was just saying is your lats muscles attach your shoulders to your lower back. So if your shoulders are misbehaving or if they're injured in any way, it can exacerbate your back pain. So we're going to work your shoulders right now, okay? So come round with me onto all fours. I know, Hedwig, you've done this exercise with me in the past, and Amanda, you probably have done hundreds of years ago when I was at Sidcup. Okay, so shoulders over wrists, knees nice and wide. We're in a box position. Now, if you're struggling to kneel, roll up a towel and put it under your shins, not under your kneecaps, under your shins, to lift your kneecaps off the floor. If you're struggling to weight bear on your hands, here are some options. You can turn your hands out 10 to 2. That can help your thumb, okay? You can come to your knuckles and turn your palms in. And if none of that works, you can drop to your forearms. It's a bit different, but it still works. Okay, we're going to shrug our shoulders up to our ears. Keep your elbows straight. We're going to shrug our shoulders down to our bottom. We're going to take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, you're going to push through the palms of your hands. And then you're going to do that again. Now, what I didn't consider is the fact that I've got a bit of a cold. It's not ideal position if you've got a cold. So we're shrugging our shoulders up. We're shrugging our shoulders down. We're taking a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're pushing through the palms of our hands. We're keeping the elbows straight the whole time. What this does is it glues your shoulder blades onto your rib cage so that your back muscles work and not your neck. Okay, we don't want your neck overworking. This is level 1. This is just your setup phase. But if this is enough for you today, it still works you. So by pushing through your hands, you also engage your abdomen, your core. Okay, so this is a nice one if you're postpartum, or like me, you've got a splitting, or if you've got a hernia like I have. It's a way of doing abs without exacerbating that. Now look at my feet. You've got 2 options. You can either have your feet like this, not tucked, or you can tuck them under. Now, if you tuck under, there will be more strain at your kneecap. If you don't tuck under, there'll be more strain at the foot and ankle. I prefer this version. So we're going to shrug the shoulders up. We're going to shrug the shoulders down. We're going to take a big breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to press through the palms of the hands and see if we can free our knees. And then we're going to come back down. So we're going to do that again. Shrug the shoulders up. Sorry about the sniffing. Shrug the shoulders down. Take a big breath in, breathe out, push away. Now this time we're going to do the tuck version. I don't like this so much because it can make my kneecaps hurt. And then you float away and then back down. Now if you're stronger and you want something more intense, you can just hold that hover and breathe into it. But if you're new to this and you feel like you don't want to lift, you just do the shoulders. So we inhale the shoulders up, exhale the shoulders down, breathe out. We press through the palms of the hands, and then we decide, are we going to lift our knees or are we not? Your choice. Good. How's everybody getting on? If you're on YouTube, I can't see your comments. Okay, they're just not coming through to me. So I will come back in and answer any questions that you may or may not have asked. Let me have a little nosy. See what everyone said. Yeah, the top leg, Amanda. Yeah, not that we're on that exercise anymore, but yes, that is what I meant. Okay. So this is called your bear pose. I love bear pose. It's good for shoulder stability, and shoulder stability is key for lower back health. It's good for your core stability, and we're working our arms a little bit as well. It works everything, but it keeps your back in a really nice, safe position. If you ever do any plank work, a lot of people tend to drop their hips, and then it puts lots of pressure on the lower backs. This is a nice, safe place. Okay, we are going to finish with a little bit of a stretch. Okay, so when you've had enough, I'd like you to just come around onto your... Oh, actually, while we're here, I'll change my mind. Let's do... I'm not going to love this stretch today with whatever I've got going on, hay fever or cold, I'm not sure. Come down to your forearms for me, so your bottom's sticking in the air. Palms facing down. I want you to take one arm and I want you to stretch it out. So that hand is sitting in front of the other hand. And then what I want you to do here... I can't let my head tip down. My nose is going to run. Okay, what I want you to do here is push your bottom right back. Now, where your head should be is dropping down to the floor. I'm staying upright, okay? So push your bottom back as far as you can.
So I would want you to drop your head down, but if I do that, my nose is going to run. Okay. Can you feel that stretch? Now that is your lats muscle you're stretching. So you might feel it here or you might feel it here. And you're thinking about like pushing your bum away and stretching your arm forwards. When you've had enough on that side, let's try it on the other side. Okay, who's with me? I can see more of you with me. Are you kind of like watching quietly? Are you doing it with me or you're just watching? So bring the arm across, push your bottom back. So we're at the final stages of this class now. We're in stage 4, which is your stretching phase. So this is us kind of bringing it back down. All right, once you've had a go of that either side, a little bit of stretches for your lats, we're going to do a little release through your bottom cheeks before we finish. So we're going to come around. We're going to lie ourselves down on our back. Okay, lots of options. So we're going to take your foot over your opposite thigh so that the side of the ankle is resting on the thigh. And we're just going to see, how is that feeling? How is your hip? So for some of you, you will have some restricted motion. So you might not be able to outwardly rotate the hip very well. So if your hip is kind of stuck here or it's hurting in the groin, I want you to stay here and be kind to yourself. You're going to take your hand, put it on the inside of your knee and just gently push the knee away. And I want you to just think, right, how does my knee feel? You may have some issues there because it's bent. How does my hip feel? It's very common for it to feel tight and tender at the front of the hip. So if your hip is restricted, I'd really want you to stay with this. You could call this an articulation exercise. It will in a minute be a stretch for the bottom cheek, but right now it's not. We're just mobilizing the joint. And you could come in and out of it if your hip is really stiff. So that's your level 1. Level 2 is different. We're going to lift both legs off the floor. We're going to put one hand through the center, one hand around the outside of that furthest thigh. We're going to interlace our fingers and pull that leg in towards us. Now, for some of us, this is easy and it's comfortable. We're looking for a stretch here in the bottom cheek. You might feel it in the hamstring. You might feel it in the inside thigh. Depends where you're tight. If you're quite flexible and you're comfortable here, you could go to level 3 and just have a little rock to the left and to the right. That slightly turns your hip in its socket, and you'll feel the stretch change as you rock. Now, if you're struggling with level 2 but you'd like to do it, here are 2 options for you. Okay, option 1, I want you to grab a cushion. I thought I had one here, but they're over there. And pop a cushion or 2 under your head. Imagine I've got a cushion under my head. That makes it easier for me to reach my legs. So that's option 1. Or this furthest foot here, go towards a piece of furniture or a piece of wall and put this foot on the wall, or put this foot, rest it on a piece of furniture, and then you could do it hands-free. So if you're struggling to reach your legs, you either lift the head up or you support this leg. Okay? Have a go on the other side if you haven't already. Come and have a little nosy at your comments. Good. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. That's my concentrating face if you're wondering. Shoulder tip is brilliant. Been doing this, moving Pilates. Yes. So when you do anything where you're weight bearing, say in plank or anything on a straight arm, if you don't set the shoulders first, then it means the neck takes over. So it's really important that we set the shoulders down in position first. So that's awesome. Well done. Perfect. So I want you to stretch both sides. So just a quick recap if you're not there already. So level 1, level 2. If level 2 is a problem, lift the head or support the foot. Level 3, we rock. Okay. Now, if you've got restriction in either hip, it directly impacts your lower back health. Because if that hip is not moving as much as it should, then you will find that the lower back has to take over and compensate and move more, maybe on one side than it does on the other. And then that's how you get imbalances. So your mobility of your hips is so important for your low back health. Okay, when you've had enough, just bring your knees into your chest. If you're able to kick yourself up and rock yourself up to sitting, do that. If you know that's too much for you today, I want you to roll all the way over onto your side and then push yourself up really slowly. It's important to get up carefully if your lower back is tender at the moment. Just find somewhere to sit to finish. Now, I'm really comfortable on the floor, but a lot of people aren't. So you could sit on a chair, on the edge of a bed. If you've got some cushions, you could put them under your bottom to lift you up. You can lengthen your legs out if you want to. Well, one really important thing to do to finish. Okay, we're going to grow through the crown of your head, and we're going to sit right up on our sit bones. So imagine that you're lengthening and lifting crown of head up to ceiling, and you're pressing sit bones into floor, and you're trying to create as much space as you can from the crown of your head down to your tail. So how much space can you make? Now, when do people tell me they get back pain? 3 main things. 2 of them are sitting and standing static. And it's because we just let it all go. And when we stand static, we do the same thing. So if you stand or sit and then lift up really tall, grow through the crown of your head and give your spine lots of space, you will get less symptoms. You will get tired quickly because your muscles are working, but your muscles are holding your structure in your body rather than hanging off the bones and the ligaments, and that's why you get pain. So grow nice and tall, create lots of space. Okay, let's just do a little seated twist. Interlace your fingers, turn your hands inside out and have a big push up to the ceiling. And then you're going to reach one arm forwards, one arm behind you. Bring your fingertips to the floor, grow super tall. And as you breathe out, if it feels good, rotate a bit further. You can stretch your legs out straight if you don't want to cross them like I have. I'd love you to bring yourself back through to the center. Let's do that on the other side. Interlace the fingers, turn the hands inside out, push up. Good. One arm forwards, one arm back. Lift up nice and tall. Breathe out and rotate. Good. Come back to the center. Have a big stretch up. Interlace the fingers. Look up. Reach up. Oh, stretch nice and wide. Roll your shoulders. And give yourself a round of applause. Thank you so much. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. So just to recap, how this is different, this class is different to Pilates, is it follows a specific structure. So we do inhibition first, that's your spiky ball, then articulation, that is movements to get the joints moving. Then we've added activation into that, so that's like core work, shoulder work, exercises for our hips, and then we end with a stretch. So that's the format of the class. Today's was the lower back edit, but we can do this for any body part that you want to do. I hope that you enjoyed it. I would love your feedback. It's very similar to the way that I teach my Pilates classes, but I don't follow that exact format. It's a bit more free, my Pilates classes, and we have different focuses. It might be shoulders, hips, whatever. Okay. So I'd love your feedback. Let me know what you thought and if anything was particularly useful. And before I go, we have been online for 4 years. Can you believe it? 4 whole years. That's when I took my business online in lockdown. And I have a little promotion running until Friday at midnight, where you can get 4 months of Pilates classes, which includes 12 live classes on Zoom where I can coach you, and access to like my library of 4 years recordings for the price of 2 months. Or if you can't make my class times, which are Tuesday 9:30 a.m. or Thursday 8:15 p.m. That's UK time. Then there's a pre-recorded membership that again I'm giving away for half price for the next 8 months until Christmas. So if either of those would be useful to you, let me know. I can send the links over. But regardless, it's been such a pleasure presenting this to you this morning, and I just love your feedback. So wishing you the most beautiful day. Let me come and see if anyone's saying anything to me before you go. Oh, you're welcome, Amanda. You're welcome, Hedwig. If you want to do the full class and you missed the beginning, but you'd like to go back and do it, this recording will be either on my YouTube channel or it will be in my members group. So I'm going to take it off the page and I'm going to post it in the members group. So if you're on Facebook and you want access to that group, send me a message. I will send you the link to give you access and you can come and join us in my little group. Okay? Any questions before I go? Oh, I'm so glad it was helpful. It is amazing. Just a few exercises can make such a difference to low back pain. It really is. So I hope that was beneficial for you this morning. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you because I've got to go off and do some more sessions now. But I hope to see you all again soon. Take care. Have a lovely, lovely day. See you soon, guys.